All right, welcome back, and we are here with our final interview of the night. Very exciting. Thank you all so much for sticking with us. If you're just tuning in, thanks so much for tuning in. And we'll just get right into it with GeoBlade, interviewed by the lovely Chris, Hanna and Johnny Liu.
Hey, what's up, y'all?
Good. How you doing?
Good. So, GeoBlade, we got to play a little bit of it beforehand. It's a very cool action RPG style game. What was the main source of inspiration on why you picked this type of game?
So, funny story about that. Basically, our advisor for this project, Professor Sizzo, he said, "Hey, you interested in doing an audio-based MPP with me?" And we were like, "Yeah, sure." So we were gonna have a meeting discussing how we were gonna start this, and then like an hour before the meeting, we just got on a Discord call and we're like, "We have no idea what we're doing for this." What do we do? And I'm like, "All right, I made this mock-up in Blender out of like some glowing cubes or something like 10 minutes before that." And I'm like, "All right, look, we're gonna take this and we're gonna like make stuff up after that." And so we were like, "All right, you see these glowing cubes, you're in an underground facility and you have to escape and go on an adventure." And it all just kind of sprawled out from that. So that's kind of where the idea came from like one simple render with some glowing cubes. And it kind of just extended into this GeoBlade idea, geometry cubes. So that's kind of where it came from.
It's a very impressive way.
Yeah.
Creativity through constraints.
Yes.
Major lesson.
Oh yeah.
The first thing we sort of came up with, like, as our idea for the actual gameplay of it was we want to do some sort of RPG thing in a sci-fi setting. And throughout the development, we kind of lost the RPG side of things a little bit, but we kind of it transitioned more into like a hack and slash type game, and we placed an emphasis on melee combat and also puzzles. We wanted to do a lot with audio, so we've got the original soundtrack, fully voice acted dialogue, and then a lot of like dynamic sound effects. And then the puzzles also use elements of audio. So the first one in our demo is a game matching musical pitches, basically.
So what was your, maybe there's a lot to talk about. Yeah. What's your favorite part of the game?
I think we all have individual favorite parts based on what we put the most work into.
Yeah. Down the line.
Let's just go down. So I was like kind of the technical visual guy. We were discussing earlier in the meeting, but a lot of the procedural visuals, like some of the animations for some of the enemies that I don't think you saw in our demo, but some of these crawling animations for enemies where we would have these creatures called geomorphs. And geomorphs could come in all shapes and sizes. Some of them had 8 legs, some of them had 10, some of them had 2. I don't think any of them actually had 10, but the important part is
Arbitrary legs.
Yeah, arbitrary number of legs, arbitrary body shapes, sizes, whatever. There were some giant ones. And it was going to be a lot of work for 3 people to output unique animations for every single one of those. So there was a procedural animation system where it would drive a state machine within Unity to basically drive the legs individually, and based on the movement of the creature, it would take in some parameters like how long a step should take, how far is it stride, stuff like that, and kind of make like a cool procedural animation. So that reduced our workload a lot, and I think a lot of the visuals kind of had that like novel procedural look to them, where you have things like, I'm not sure if either of you are familiar with Drill Home. It's this kind of it's a smaller Ubisoft game where you have like this main robot kind of walk in like this weird physicsy kind of way that was like kind of endearing. And that's kind of the feeling a lot of the animations gave to us. So that was my favorite part.
That's I worked a lot on the dialogue and a lot of the initial concept art. Yeah, so I think my favorite part is the fact that we had a dialogue system that developed. I think it's really cool how it was all like fully voice acted, and I'm really happy how it came together.
Yeah, my favorite part was definitely just the audio. Like as I liked being able to write original music for this and get a chance to record all the dialogue and go through the whole process of editing that, getting everything integrated. We used Wise audio engine for the technical side of that. So it was nice to get some more experience working with that. I had used it a little bit, but never on a project of this scale. So it was nice to get some practice using an industry standard tool like that.
Yeah.
And then the geo frequency puzzle is kind of, we kind of came up with the idea for it together, but the implementation of it was kind of my main thing that I did. So I liked how that came together. It was pretty cool.
The voice acting was either y'all or your friends. And
Yeah.
yeah. Like,
So the main character was me, and then in the trailer, if you saw the trailer, there's a voice at the end that was also me, and that character did not make it into the demo, but it's supposed to show up later. And then Cameron voices the core, who's the AI, the distorted voice you hear a couple times throughout the demo.
Right.
And then Iris, your floating companion character, that was my sister. So nice.
Nice extra help.
Yeah.
Yep. Very low cost source of dialogue.
Yes. Her pay for that was $20 gift card that had some.
We just got paid for it. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
What are some of your hopes for your project? Like, did you have any hopes? Like, do you want to keep working on it after in the future?
So I think as far as the future of this project, a lot of the systems we developed are very modular and transferable to other projects. Kind of the ad hoc nature of how we originally came up with the idea resulted in us kind of making a bunch of systems that were robust individually and forming them together into a game, and they can now very easily be formed into other games. Because at one point, I wanted this game to be a multiplayer arena game, which it definitely did not end up being.
That is a big scope.
Yeah, that's a huge scope, and of course we didn't end up doing that. But you know, some of the animation systems, some of just the experiences we had with industry standard tools that are generally used for larger scale games was really helpful. Yeah, and so for me, it's again using a lot of system experience developing the systems.
Yeah, I do kind of like the overall idea and narrative we sort of stumbled upon. So I wouldn't be opposed to continuing to work on this, but I feel like we definitely need some restructuring. But we do definitely have a lot of core technical systems and things in place that can be used in different ways.
Something I'm interested in, definitely. So, I know that the users need a solution.
Yeah.
You can just see it at the end.
I know, I see it in every game.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Yes. So what it does is it's a local server that basically just runs behind the scenes, and you can hook into it in your game code using the Wise API. There are plugins for Unreal and Unity and a bunch of other game engines. And it basically just handles playing all the audio instead of having the game engine. So Unity has decent support for audio and spatialized dynamic stuff. It's not great. And Unreal's is better, but it's still not quite as powerful as what Wise can do. So the bread and butter of Wise is states and events. So you use states to keep track of what's going on in the game world, and then you trigger Wise events from your game code to make certain things happen. It's usually playing a sound effect, but it could be like triggering a different section of music or whatever. And Wise allows you to hierarchically structure all your sound effects using containers. And there are a bunch of different containers that have different functions. There's a random container that will play a random sound, like a list of these words. So if you want footsteps, but you don't want it to sound repetitive and same every time. And on top of just the random bass sound, you can also randomize the things like volume, pitch, and other parameters to make it sound more interesting. You can also have sequence containers, so we'll play one sound, another one over. You can define if any of those sounds should loop, and there's a lot of stuff you can do based on like, the current state of everything. You can like create a complex path that the states basically follow. Like we have a state for whether the player is running or walking, and then we'll have a state for what type of material they're seeing. And we combine those together to figure out what kind of footsteps we should like, do some other stuff to it on top of that. The thing it's really good at is music transition. So you can set the tempo and meter of individual sections of music, and you can say, okay, Wise, I want you to play the intro of this section of music once, and then I want you to move this section until we get to here. Then I want you to wait till the next bar before crossfading to this. And then like there's a lot of
detail. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that's cool. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, great demo. Look forward to seeing it on Steam later. So,
Yeah.
Hopefully, yeah.
Good time.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Fun.